retaking the White House. He's announced a 25% tariff on all cars imported into the United States from the 2nd of April. The US president claimed the measures would spur growth in the US car industry and create jobs and investment. The US imports roughly 8 million cars.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Today we're talking about recession, inflation, and this new 25% tariff that Trump just did. And we're going to talk a little bit about the economy, right? We're going to talk about the economy. But before I get into that, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the AirTag EMF protector. I will pin that at the top of the chat. And hit the bell notification as well. Let's get into the show. How y'all feeling today? It is currently Thursday. I want to know how you guys feeling on this Thursday morning, 9:08. Let's get it.
That was last year's number, accounting for about $240 billion in.
Oh, so 8 million cars are imported to the U.S.? I never knew that. 8 million cars. That's quite a lot of cars. Now, the thing would be with this 25% tariff, I need more clarification. What is considered an American-made car or American-made pieces or parts, right? Are you going to tax the companies that isn't based in the United States or don't want to be based in the United States? What is the percentage that's going to be taxed with them? Or are you taxing people based on their car parts? Like your body may be made in the United States or Europe, but your engine may be made in Germany. You know, so it gets kind of tricky. And I'm here to say, as far as recession, right? I think we've been in a recession since 2020. And the reason why I say that is just look at the sales number, right? Because numbers don't lie. People do, channels do, and they're not going to tell you that we're in a recession, right? Look at the sales number. I think mostly business, except for a handful of business, actually seen profit since 2020. I'm talking about major profit. Right, major profit since 2020. Most companies dissolved or they broke even. A lot of people aren't making a lot of money before the 2020 vid scare. The whole thing has changed, right? So I believe that we actually been in a recession for a while, and this is the reason why I say that as well. Printing money isn't the solution. Think about it. The more money they print, that's all we've been doing. Printing money from 2020. Print money. Print money actually, right, destroys wealth. For every dollar that they print and for all the money that they print, know that whatever you have in your savings account goes down. Now, what you have in your stocks and your trading account, it may go up because that's the side effects of actually of the actual money. Now, I will much rather own stocks than save. And this is why. I figured out, you could save. You save probably 6 months, 6 months emergency fund to a year emergency fund. Anything other than that, it need to be in the market. That's how you get rich. It needs to be in the stocks. It needs to be in some form of mutual funds. It needs to be in maybe life insurance. It needs to be in anything that's going to go up. Maybe bonds, because they're talking about a recession and bonds go up while everything else go down. So these are the asset class that I think it needs to be in. It needs to be in the asset classes, things that rises, right? That add intrinsic value, things that's anti-deflationary, right? Those are the type of products that you would need in order to fight this. In order to fight your money debasing. Like I say, the more money that they print is the less money that you're going to have, especially if you're holding cash. Because if you understand how it goes, right, money debased at a certain rate every year. So if you're not beating the debasement rate or you're not beating the inflation rate, you're going to be running in place for 20, 30 years. Why do you think you can have a job, you can work that same job, and no matter how much the raise that they give you, they're not going to give you that much raise, right? But depending on what they decide to give you, $1, $2, whatever the minute number is, right? It will never beat inflation, and it won't ever beat debasement. So if you don't make 18 to 20% more money every year, you're going to fall in the rat race. Let me repeat. If you don't make 18 to 20% more money every year, you would then fall inside the rat race. Just saying, that's what I have observed. But leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you have observed.
Trade and roughly half of overall sales. Mexico is the top foreign supplier of cars to the US, followed by South Korea, Japan, Canada, and Germany. Analysts estimate that 25% tariffs on car parts from Mexico and Canada could add between $4,000 and $10,000 in costs, depending on the vehicle.
So, which means that some used cars are going to be worth more, and or used car dealership, they're going to charge you $4,000 to $10,000 more. That's how I look at it. It may be beneficial to used cars dealership. It may not be so beneficial to actually new car dealership, because it's going to be a dramatic increase. Now, the thing that I see about this that a lot of people aren't talking about is the fact that it's actually a tax incentive. So that money that they're actually charging you in the gap, you get that back at the end of the year based on taxes, right? But you still will be affected by when you actually purchase the actual vehicle. So that's like a double-edged sword. It can work out and it can't work out depending on the vehicle.
This will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants that were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped and they're moving them to our country. And Indiana, the great state of Indiana, I love Indiana. Honda.
Pause, Trump. One thing I have to say is this. Now, you have a lot of companies that's deciding to come back to the United States. But are they playing Trump? Because when would they begin to invest in the United States? Are they going to wait? Because a lot of people, what they doing now, instead of investing now, they just have a lot of cash on the side. Some people may say, well, buy the dip, buy the dip. Okay, you can buy the dip until you're broke. Then what? Then you don't have any more money left to buy your chips and dip. Then what? So what I noticed that a lot of big companies are doing is they literally just hoarding money on the side. They're not investing. They're just waiting, because they may play the wait game and say, hey, Honda, you said that you was going to put 500, or let's just say Apple, you say you was going to put $500 million into the factory making in the United States. My ultimate question is, when do these things begin? Because they might trick him for the okie doke and said, hey, you know what? We was going to do that, but it may take us 3 to 4 years to do that. So now the original offering become actually less. Instead of 500 million, now they putting just 100 million, and they didn't go through on what they actually said, which can be bothersome. So I would like to see how this will turn out. There's only one way to find out. Give it some time. By midterm, if I don't see Apple, Honda, the Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC, if I don't see them actually deploy money to actually make these things, make these factories, try to make America somewhat better, then it's all okie doke. And I'll keep you guys informed on that.
Is building one of the biggest plants anywhere, and they've just started. They wouldn't have done it without this. In all cases, they wouldn't have done it without what we're doing.
Well, there's been a response from Europe, with the EU promising to protect its workers and consumers. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, said, I deeply regret the US decision to impose tariffs on European automotive exports. She went on to say tariffs are taxes, bad for businesses, worse for consumers, equally in the US and in the European Union. Canada's new Prime Minister Mark Carney called the tariffs a direct attack on Canadian workers and vowed his country would rebound on its own.
We will build an all-in Canada network for auto manufacturing components. Because
I really don't think Canada have the right to even speak on this. And the reason why I say this is because Canada, you need the United States more than the United States needs you. Let me repeat. Mexico, you need the United States more than the United States needs you. The only people that I see that can give the United States a run for their dollar is China. And they're like best friends. They may act like they arguing, act like they doing this, act like they doing that. It's actually better for them to actually do business together, right? Those are the only people that I can see that can actually challenge the American economy. It's China. From the tech side to the manufacturing side, it's China. Everyone else, Canada, you don't have the right to say anything. Would you be part of the 51st state of the United States? Are you going to fall for that? Or the United States may just buy Greenland. They're thinking about buying Greenland as well. And that's for natural minerals, earthly things, copper, zinc, anything dealing with energy. That's what it's going to be for. Mexico, on the other hand, I want to see the results of what Canada and Mexico is going to do. But if you guys read the Art of the Deal, right? I think Trump is basically throwing out numbers, and we got to see until April 2nd, we will have a bit more clarity, right? So we could speculate. I personally believe that he throwing out these ridiculous numbers. You guys ever play spades, and when you have to bluff, and you got to tell people, you have something that you don't, but then that gets them to actually renege, or it gets them to actually mess up their game plan or their strategic advantage. I think that's the game plan that he's playing right now. He's saying all these ridiculous numbers. Then he's doing the push and pull. Oh, I said 30%. You know what? I give you 30 days. Oh, I said 45%. Oh, I'll give you 20%, but it's not going to take effect until this. So he's actually debating, and he's actually trying to manifest a deal without doing anything at all. Because what if his original numbers was 25, 30%, and he got a 10% tariff on you guys? That's something out of nothing. That will actually influence, if you guys understand macroeconomics, that will actually make America begin to collect more money. And this is why I say that can be a good thing. Now, for the short-term tariffs, it's going to affect the day-to-day worker. It's going to affect the mass amount of people, right? Because y'all know, you tax the rich, they're only going to pass it down to the consumer, right? They're going to apply it in taxes. They're going to find a way how to get their money back, right? So that's not really a solution. What I see with the tariffs and how I see the tariffs is it's going to bring money inside of the U.S. economy. That's the first thing. It's going to bring money inside of the U.S. economy, but it's going to hurt the U.S. consumer short term. Long term, it's going to be beneficial. Is tariffs the only way to actually make America better? I think there's many different ways. Tariffs are just one way. Now, if we get the manufacturing and the things that we actually need as a production line, then that could be another way. Right, we got to come up with different schematics as far as business ideals that can actually bring money in, then that's even better. But y'all know that the little tariffs that we're charging other countries like Mexico and China, do y'all know how much tariffs they charge us in order for us to sell our products, goods, and services over there? It's 10 times more. Some countries charge 100% tariffs. We charge them nothing. So I understand what Trump is trying to do. At least make sure that we have some form of income within the country just to fight the deficit, though we print the money, right? But I think we printed so much money for so long that it's going to take more than 4 years to clean this up. The system itself is actually what's taken. If you guys study money, right? Study fiat currency and what it actually is. That is the daily force that's robbing us every day. Dollars. It's literally robbing you every day because dollars have different nuances. Taxation. When you spend it with people, they spend it with somebody else, they're getting taxed. Inflation. Debasement. Every dollar that you have yesterday is not the same dollar today. It's debasing. So the fact, to me, it's the actual money system that needs to change if you want America to actually change. That's just how I see it. Or else You can blame the Democrats, you can blame the Republicans, you can play this political party game, you can play all those games, but all playing those games, what's the solution? We've been playing those games for so long. The question would then be, what is the solution? Because I'm solution based. The solution is get rid of the dollar, get rid of fiat, because fiat, to me, is what crushed all nations. Study money. Look at Venezuela, for example. Study money. A loaf of bread costs $1 million. If we don't stop what we're doing right now, let's just say 10 years from now, we're going to be in the same predicament. So I'm glad that we're starting. But, you know, when you start something and something begins to change actually affects a lot of different things in a lot of different sectors. And I think that's what we're going through today. But leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think.
On average, an auto part crosses that border, often through that bridge, over that bridge, 6 times before final assembly. And in a trade war, that's a huge vulnerability.
Well, let's bring in Rufus Yerza, who's former US trade negotiator and former Deputy Director General of the World Trade Organization. Welcome to BBC News.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, first of all, your initial reaction, the impact this will have.
Well, this is really the first major battle of the trade war. We might say the preliminaries are over. Things seemed on again and off again on many aspects of what Trump was threatening. But now, clearly, he's determined to go forward. I'm not surprised that he's chosen autos. This has been something he's talked about for a long, long time.
And I think the next thing he's going to choose the tariff is gold, physical metals, silver, copper, diamonds, zinc. That's why you think that it's so much gold being flown into the United States of America as we speak right now. Do y'all know what gold prices is right now? Over $3,000. Gold right now, investing in gold right now is where's the money's flowing to, obviously. It's over $3,000. I've been buying pieces of silver, pieces of gold for months now because I say, what? An ounce of silver costs $33? Unbelievable. An ounce. I said, whoa, now this is God money. This is real money. We're not talking about that paper, that faker, that faker maker. It's not fake it till you make it. It's actually making it. Can't fake that. So buying physical silver, physical gold, to me, that's how you diversify. That's how you actually hold wealth. That's how you contain it. That's one of the ways, at least. That's one of the ways. I think that silver is going to go to triple digits. I think gold may go to 15 to 20K before I ascend off this earth. I'm just saying, these are the things that I see. Just follow the numbers. And the use cases to me for silver is 10 times more than it is for gold. Silver is in everything. The computer that I'm in front of right now, your phones, your cell phones, silver in it. Silver is in everything. It's a conductor. Everything is electricity. Even me. So it's a great conductor. But that's a whole nother conversation. Leave your thoughts down below. Do you own any gold? Do you own any silver?
The reason it's so major, this is, a $4 trillion industry worldwide. It's one of the largest segments of manufacturing and assembly in all of the developed economies of the world. The trade is very vibrant. The U.S. imported, as you said, about $240 billion of cars. But this new action extends also to auto parts, and there's about 192 billion more of auto parts that are caught up in this. And of course, as you said, the 5 biggest exporters to the U.S., Mexico, Japan, Korea, Canada, and Germany, but also other European countries like the UK itself, France, and Italy. And so this is now a trade conflict between the U.S. and its traditional allies and partners, both in free trade and in democracy. Clearly, it's going to have major repercussions for the relationships between these countries. I think retaliation of some sort is going to be inevitable. And it's going to have a major impact on these economies as well as the U.S. economy. And we can talk about what those impacts are.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, when pressed by reporters on...
I wanted to show you guys that, look, buying silver. This right here is an ounce. It's from Ampex. The silver right here. You guys see it. That's silver. $33 an ounce. Buy it every week. So by the time you look up, you have so many different pieces. You have some buried in the ocean, some buried in the park, some buried at your aunt's house, your mother's house, some buried everywhere, that by the time you look at it, this is the game that you need to be playing. This is actual silver, an ounce. Then you have actual gold. So while the dollar goes down, guess what's going up? It's going all the way up. And there's no excuses, because y'all know Walmart. A lot of people shop at Walmart, right? I don't, but I shop at Walmart to buy these. I'm a Whole Foods guy. But Walmart partnered with Amex. And I actually need to get an affiliate marketing link for these too. Sell gold and silver. Why not? APMEX. Amex, right? A bar right now, an ounce of our gold is $3,000. An ounce of silver is $33. So why not stack up on silver, right? Stack up on silver, spend $33 a week or every couple of days, get you about 10, 20 bars a month, put that on the side. By the time you look up and it goes to $100, say if you spend $5,000 or $10,000 on silver, right? Then you will look up one day, and if it goes to $100, 33 times 2 is 99, right? You would 2x. So that $10,000 become $30,000. Easy. You put $100,000 in it, it becomes $300,000. Easy. It's something you can pass on to your kids, or whoever, your parents, whoever you want to pass it on to. So all I'm saying is that there's no excuses not to diversify. You can also have it in stocks. Borrow against your stocks. You know, this is how the rich live. They have everything in stocks. Borrow against their stocks is not considered unrealized gains. So now you live in tax-free. I'm just saying you have to find creative ways to beat the system, because it is a system and it is a game, and it can be beaten. Any rich person would tell you that. It's for the people that knows something about something, have some form of financial education. That's why it's so important. And those are things you can't really learn in school. You have to learn in life, but that's a whole nother conversation.
On whether this was a negotiating tactic, the president said, no, this is permanent. This will not change. Comes into effect next week. We've seen reaction, we've mentioned, from Ursula von der Leyen, from Mark Carney, but also from Japan as well. Interesting, Japan's...
Also, this is why Bitcoin is so important. If we're in a recession, or they talking about all these tariffs and all of that, you know, the only thing that's going up too, Bitcoin. Nations will fight over Bitcoin in the near future. I keep telling people that. That's why I'm big on crypto. For I just see it. You know what I'm saying? I see it. I was blessed to see what's going to trend before it trend. You know, I was blessed with vision. These eyes right here, these slanted things right here, we can see things. And the way I see it is, if you don't own Bitcoin, if you don't own gold, if you don't own silver, if you don't invest in stocks, if you don't have a business, if you don't know how to sell anything, then those are going to be the pillars that actually keeps you afloat. If you cannot farm, if you don't have a network or a community that you guys can share ideas with one another, if you don't have your own running water, which means like your own well, you know, so that's my next piece, working on buying a piece of land, putting a house on there. Most likely it's going to be overseas. I can rent in the United States and run it up overseas. Because one thing I know about America, right? I figured it out. America owns a lot of things overseas. but they care not to own a lot of things here. I said, whoa, kind of makes sense. Overseas is cheaper. You can get more for your money, and you can still live in the Americas, but you might rent here, right? But own so much overseas. I said, whoa, I became an American. I became a capitalist. So I say, yeah, and there's nothing you can own here too as well, but your money can stretch way, way more. I'd rather own a lot overseas and a little here than own a lot here and a little overseas. Because to me, the ratio of how things is going to grow is going to quadruple, triple overseas faster than it's going to grow in the United States of America. For instance, if you buy a home, you still have to pay the person who owns the land. If you're overseas, if you buy the land and put something on the actual land, then who pays what? That's actually a smarter deal. You own the land, you may rent it out to somebody else. They paying you for the property taxes for the land and giving you rent for the home. No, which act is wealthier? Ha. So I studied the United States and I said, aha, I see. Let them who have eyes see clearly, for I see.
Take on this was, we invest so much in the US economy where they have factories, etc. I mean, that is the long-term goal of the president. Will he achieve that? More manufacturing in the US, growth, more jobs for Americans?
Well, but it's also going to raise costs significantly for U.S. producers because they depend on global supply chains and a very, very sophisticated network of integrated production, particularly among the North American partners. So this will have a big impact on Canada and Mexico. And if their economies start taking a downturn, that's bound to have an impact on the U.S. as well. But in terms of, one of the things we're going to see down the road is how much of an inflationary impact will this have? There are estimates now that it will increase the cost of a car in the U.S. Average car is about $50,000. It'll increase that to somewhere close to $60,000. Okay. And, just at a time when obviously Americans were expecting their new president to bring down costs.
All right.
And
we've got to leave it there, Rufus. Sorry to interrupt.
But I think about it like this. There's no way, right, that we can reduce costs so fast. The problem is the actual dollar. The problem is the fiat. Think about it. You've been doing something for 100 years and you decided to change it in 4 years. That's like meeting a woman and she already is programmed to think how she think and move how she moves. You guys are about 45, 50. And you're going to try to teach her new tricks. Not saying that she's not going to learn it or she don't have the ability or the capability to learn it. But the chances of that happening is you might as well find somebody you don't have to do all of that with. That already comes with all of those things. It's going to be harder to teach. It's harder to pull somebody down than bringing someone up. It's easier to pull somebody down. It's harder to bring them up, basically. So saying it all to say, if you reverse the roles, it's going to take more than just 4 years for this to happen. And I think this is going to be a bipartisan thing. This will be a bipartisan thing. Now, let's go over to I had another slide or another screen prepared for you guys right here. We talking about economics, right? Macro and micro.
We'll take no responsibility for Art Laffer, former Reagan economist, or Steve Moore, host of More Money on WABC Radio. And those two managed to co-author a book called The Trump Economic Miracle without any help from me, which I still think was a big, big mistake. All right. All right. I want to start with the difficulties in this budget resolution. Steve Moore, you are constantly attacking the senators, but actually, and I'm glad the House got its budget res. I'm glad they drew first blood. But as I said in the riff, the House thing has a lot of major league problems. They're falling into a tax trap. They're not making the tax cuts permanent. Those are two big items here. Something's got to be done about that.
I agree with that, but I also believe, as you just said, that there's an urgency about this of getting.
Pause. I also left the last video. If you guys want to check that out and review it and all of that, check it out in the source. It's left in the description after you pass and peruse through the affiliate marketing links. You can check one of those out as well. Fixing your credit, make sure that your credit is good. I got all different sorts of things, business funding, anything that will add value to you is in there. Also, the sources is in there from these videos. So I tell people, don't believe anything I say. Look it up yourself. Do your own homework. Do your own due diligence, right? The information is there for you. I can't make you do anything, but I can lead you to the water. It's on you to actually drink it. Let's go.
Getting the tax cut done, signed, sealed, and delivered. I see no reason why it cannot be done by Memorial Day. And one of the mistakes that Reagan made was they weren't able to get that tax cut done until the end of his first year in the White House, and then it was delayed, as Arthur Lapper has taught me. So I don't want to repeat that mistake. I was at a conference this weekend, Larry, with a bunch of the Republican operatives from the House and Senate, and it was apropos to what you were just saying about this kind of Ford Nixon mentality. Right. They kept talking about how we got to cut the deficit.
Right.
And I was thinking, you know, they spent hours on this, and I never heard the word growth.
Right.
Grow the economy. That's the solution.
And by the way, Arthur, they're going to have a big growth component. If they think they're going to, it's interesting to me.
And to me, that's why I kind of like Trump being the president. I'm not saying he's the best candidate. You know how politics gets. But he was 10 times better than Kamala to me. Have much more global respect. And he's a businessman, right? Like him or not, he's a businessman. But the way I see it is simply this. The fact that he's doing that gold member migration thing, where he's charging $500,000, I forget the number, in order for you to be an actual citizen. This is to the high class, to the rich class that actually want to do business in America. I think that's beneficial because that's a smart way of actually getting America money at the same time. That actually was a growth strategy that I seen. I said, that's kind of good, right? I don't think a lot of people would have thought about that and pulled it off. Now he's getting rid of the illegal immigrants, right? But at the same time, he's making legal immigrants actually giving them an opportunity of a lifetime, especially for the high class legal immigrants. So I think that was a good marketing scheme to actually bring money into the United States of America, if you're looking at it from a business angle.
The only way to break through, and I've talked to Senator Mike Crapo about this. Crapo is a brilliant guy, and he's completely transparent. I mean, he's just an ordinary guy. You dial him up his cell phone. He says, hello, this is Mike. I mean, it's really fascinating, and he always gets right back to you. But the point is, if you're going to put both the Trump 1.0 tax cuts, the 2017 tax cuts, plus the new ones, which are huge. I mean, the 15% corporate tax, 100% depreciation on factories, for example, and the tips and the overtime and the Social Security. If you're going to put them both together, you got to have a Laffer curve impact here on revenues. You got to have to show that. I'm not seeing that. For example, the House resolution has a 2.6% growth rate. CBO and the Federal Reserve have the old 1.8% growth rate. So growth and what I'm calling the Laffer curve has got to play a role in this. And at the moment, it has not yet.
Well, it will play a role. I mean, if you get those taxes through, you'll get a lot more growth.
But to put it on paper in the budget resolution is what I'm saying. And eventually, the reconciliation package, which has to pass a parliamentarian.
Yeah, well, I would love to see that as well, the growth estimates in the package. But we can always put in something else. These are just silly rules that they go by, Larry, to get fill the hole for the 10-year period. We could do something like reduce or eliminate some of the deductions on 501c3s. Right. Now, he's already done a little bit there. If you got rid of the deductions on contributions, which is about, I don't know, 100, 200 billion. And then you got the ones on the earnings from 501c3s. These are all over 50 million. You get another 200 million.
How about elite colleges that won't shape up?
But these are the ones. These are the ones. Right? If you did that, you get $4 trillion. 4 trillion over a 10-year period.
How much?
Oh, well over $4 trillion.
But
revenue?
what tax rate? What tax rate?
Well, I'm assuming just the deduction to the ordinary 37%. That's a little over 200 million there every year. 200 billion, excuse me.
He's kind of making sense when you think about it, just from a numerical perspective. All right, but I left this in the source, and you guys go check it out. You guys go check the remainder of the video out. That video is, let me check on the timestamp. It's quite long. So I left it in the source. You guys go check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Just wanted to give you an update about recession, inflation, and this new 25% tariff on auto parts that Trump just did. Now I look at my alarm went off for the market at 9:30, right? So let me check out the market real quick. And let me check in my Fidelity account. What is the SPY doing right now? What is the S&P? Down $3. So it's going to be a sell-off real quick. Good time to play some puts. The crypto market might be doing the same as well. So some people may say buy the dip, buy the dip. I'm just going to keep the cash on the side and wait a little longer until maybe after April 2nd, and then we will see what's going on, because it's a lot of signals that I see that it seems like we're going to be in a bearish market soon, right? A lot of people calling for a bull market, but it's a lot of indicators saying that it's a bear market that's coming on up. So leave your thoughts down below, smash that like button. Let me know what you think about recession, inflation, and tariffs, and what solutions are you putting in place to beat recession, inflations, and tariffs. On that note, peace, blessings, and love. And you guys know how I like to end this. Positivity over negativity.